Hey, what's up? It's your boy Rawk. Recently I've taken up this neat new hobby where I combine two completely random words, turn them into a retail product, and see how much of a profit they can rake in. Some of the stuff I've come up with has been absolute dog shit, but some of it had potential. In the bad idea corner, we have such classics as CCTV barrels, koala mittens, and shelf radiators. Because sometimes the shelves get too cold, it's a work in progress. And in the good idea corner, we have building scarves, sex walls, and the only one that truly matters, grape buns. Get a grape, put it in a bread bun, you just made a kick-ass sandwich. Completely untapped market. Let's try another one and see what we can come up with. Word number one is motion, but not the Wii Play variety, sadly. And word two is controls. But motion controls already exist, damn it! We need new ideas, not ideas that became worldwide phenomenons due to the release of a stupid Nintendo console with waggle ones that sold over 100 million units, and believe me, that isn't even the first time I've said that today.
Imagine this, you're the video game industry. Since their inception, games have been controlled one way and one way only, with directional buttons and action buttons. Life is good. You want to select a menu option, press up, press A, and pat yourself on the back for a job well done. What the fuck is that? The Nintendo Wii came pummeling into the existence market on November 19th, 2006, and it initiated a phenomenon, selling over 100 million units and capturing the casual market with one core innovation: pandering.
The Nintendo Wii is a console that I grew up with, and nowadays, people love to just piss all over this system. And while it's not Nintendo's best, it's far from their worst, and I consider it to be one of my favourites. 9-year-old me wouldn't lie, he thought this thing was fun as shit. But again, people seem to look back at this system less than fondly, so I want to revisit some of the key titles that called this thing home and see if this system is actually good or not. Because I needed a reason to get out of bed, and I refuse to give a shit for anything less than Wii Play.
But first off, a history lesson.
Oh what? My history isn't good enough?
A couple of years after the Nintendo GameCube released, the company were already brainstorming a new console. The GameCube wasn't a huge success. It was struggling to compete with Sony's PlayStation 2 and newcomer Microsoft's Xbox. And Nintendo knew they needed to shake things up heading into their next home console. Satoru Iwata realized that Nintendo hadn't been keeping up with industry trends, and wanted the company to catch up, but he also thought that gaming felt far too exclusive. These two issues, alongside the clutter that came with owning multiple generations of video game hardware, were what Nintendo was striving to eliminate with their new home console. So with that in mind, Nintendo began development of a new system, with a focus on Wi-Fi connectivity, widespread appeal, and a limitless catalogue of older titles, codenamed the Nintendo Revolution. The Revolution was revealed to the public at E3 2005 with a fun amount of 0 games and a fun double disc logo. The Revolution was revealed to be backwards compatible with the GameCube, offering straight up GameCube disc support, and every other Nintendo console was revealed to be compatible through the Virtual Console. But who the f cares? Grandma and Granddad are playing the Revolution, I'll take 6 of them! In April 2006, the console was renamed the Nintendo Wii, and people wanting a hearty load of piss on this system at all times suddenly makes a lot more sense. The Nintendo Wii launched in November 2006 with a pretty solid lineup of games: Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, Need for Speed Carbon, and the rest of them. The only 2 games that really mattered that day were The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Wii Sports. Twilight Princess is an interesting case. It was originally developed as a GameCube game, but its release ended up lining up with the release of the Wii, so Nintendo decided to squirt this puppy out on the Wii with motion controls, and the game being entirely flipped.
Somebody asked for this. I need names.
This was done because Link is primarily depicted as being left-handed, which was fine in the GameCube version because the control stick was on the left-hand side and gaming isn't gatekept by a right-handed supremacy. Lefties can hold a GameCube controller however they want, it doesn't affect me at all. But let's not ignore that most of the population is right-handed, and swinging a waggle wand with your right hand and having Link swing with the left, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. So instead of flipping Link's model, they flipped the entire game.
Thank you.
Twilight Princess isn't the game that I've played because I'm still not dead yet, damn it. But even still, having a Zelda game at launch is a huge deal for any console. And interestingly, this version actually came out a couple of months before the GameCube version, which meant that most people just bought it on the Wii, and I believe that this is the sole reason that the GameCube version costs off pounds. Now, Twilight Princess was obviously an important title, but the most important game that released alongside the console, in my opinion, is Wii Sports. Arguably the most impactful launch title of all time. Tell me Wrecking Crew eclipses this, I dare you. This was the game that made people fall in love with the Wii. Being able to swing the controller to make your character swing a tennis racket, it was a revolutionary concept that led to the release of this. Wii Sports truly showed the power of the Wii remote, and showed just how captivating motion controls could be by emulating real sports in an incredibly intuitive way. The top of the class in this game has to be bowling. It never gets old. Sure, I could just go play real bowling, but I could break my light instead.
Son of a bitch!
Wii Tennis is a close second. Something about it just feels so right with the motion controls and the sound design, and of course, the trauma. Wii Boxing. This is something everybody needs in their life. I enjoy kicking the shit out of my uncle. Golf is pretty good too. It's absurdly relaxing, but definitely on the lower end for me, sadly. And baseball? Strike. I blew at this.
Wii Sports was truly a monumental title, and in my opinion, it was what thrust the Wii into the success market. It was a fun and addictive game that anybody could play, and it showed what the Wii remote was capable of in a relatable way. I think a lot of people downplay the importance of this game. I truly believe that without it, the Wii would not have done as well as it did. Golf changed us.
Alongside the launch of the system, the Wii Shop Channel opened its doors for business. Nintendo's first purely online experience. A storefront to download 3 different types of software and have a blast doing so, damn it. We open up the shop and are immediately greeted by... I feel horny and queasy.
Yeah, the Wii Shop Channel shut its doors in January of 2019, and growing up with no easy way to connect my Wii to the internet, I never got to experience it, sadly. But, now that I'm living contently with a stable internet connection, I am capable of experiencing deception.
The Wii Shop Channel offered 3 types of software, 2 of which are fairly well known, the other not so much. In my opinion, the main attraction here was the Virtual Console, offering a huge selection of games from Nintendo's history, as well as some third-party titles too, like Sega Mega Drive games. Nifty. This was the service that made the Wii seem like the all-in-one Nintendo experience. You could play all of your old GameCube discs, play all of your new Wii games, and download key titles from all of Nintendo's past home consoles. Then there was WiiWare, the unifying brand for small downloadable titles on the Wii, such as Ant Nation, the best one. Now, the Wii was notorious for shovelware, and if you ask me, WiiWare takes up 99% of the 99% of the Wii's library. A lot of the titles on the service were on par with Sexy Poker in terms of quality, but I'd be lying if I said there weren't a few decent titles that snuck their way in there. And finally, Wii Channels. Okay. Wii channels were the options on the home menu. Nintendo definitely called them channels, so it felt more like a TV station for video games, which was very appealing to casual consumers, especially considering that when you get down to it, the Wii remote is a TV remote. Pre-installed on the system, we had the disc channel, the photo channel, the Wii Shop Channel, the news and forecast channels. Let's fucking party! But on the Wii Shop Channel, we could buy more channels, and they gave us more excuses to not get out of bed. But who the hell needs that when we have the Mii Maker, bitches? One of the greatest experiences the Wii had to offer. You gotta make your own little avatars to look like you, or people that don't exist yet, or Luigi. The Mii Maker was such a social experience. It was so quick and easy to use that if you were playing the Wii in the living room, everybody there could make a Mii in minutes. All of the customization options are pretty limiting by today's standards, but they're incredibly charming. And taking a quick minute to make another Mii every once in a while, it's a consistently fun experience. That's right, I, the man, me, Rawk, can very happily spend hours of my life making virtual people. Why won't you be friends with me? We have to talk more about the overall menu setup here. I know I talked about it like, what, 14 seconds ago, but that wasn't enough, damn it! This setup is absolutely brilliant, with its music, but not really, its intuitive layout, its clock.
What, so I bought this for nothing?
One thing I find interesting about the Wii is that it natively supports both 4:3 and 16:9 display options. It came out when 16:9 TVs were becoming more accessible, but not accessible enough for them to flat out replace these big bastards quite yet, so Nintendo smartly included support for both displays. I often forget that most of the system's library was designed with 4:3 in mind as well as 16:9, because obviously honestly, why would I play these games as squares when they could be rectangles? But there's something weirdly charming about seeing a Wii game running at this aspect ratio. Kirby looks malnourished here.
I think everybody can agree that the Wii, at its core, was an appealing enough system, even if it did set Nintendo back a generation in terms of hardware specs. But none of that matters if the games aren't there. The Wii's library is probably one of the most divisive things about the console. People either think it's pretty forgettable, or they think it's one of the greatest lineups Nintendo's ever had. Which camp am I perched in? Yes.
The first party efforts on this console were fantastic, and a lot of Nintendo series got represented here. You guys know me, you know why my priorities lie, so let's take a gander at how the Mario series was represented. Fucking shit! There were so many Mario games on the Wii, and every one of them was fantastic in Mario Party 9. Mario Kart Wii, one of the most fun and frantic entries in the Mario Kart series. Mario Party 8, a game I will defend with my life.
You missed, bitch!
Mario Strikers Charged and Mario Sports Mix. Weirdly the only original Mario Sports games that we got. One's great, one's better. Actually, the States got Mario Super Sluggers, a baseball game. I really wanted this game as a kid, and it only took me until now to realize I'll never truly be happy.
There's always something holding me back.
2D Mario finally made a comeback on home consoles, after last seeing an entry on the Super Nintendo. Sure, the Game Boy got an original 2D Mario since then, but why would I want to play Mario outdoors? New Super Mario Bros. Wii, a game that I used to praise as one of the greatest ever, and now a game that I think is just pretty good. Nothing wrong with this one, I just don't have as much of a desire to play it anymore. Unless I'm with other people, then it's crazy amounts of fun, but look at me. Do you think I do that? Super Mario All-Stars was a repackaged Super Nintendo game, and Super Paper Mario wasn't a traditional 2D Mario game, but hey, it wasn't a traditional Paper Mario game either. This game is an absolute treat. I know I've already talked about it for roughly half a century, but it's so damn good! But none of the Wii's Mario games will ever compare to Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. These games are truly the cream of the crop of the console's library, two of the most fantastic games ever crafted by man. It doesn't matter how many times I play these two, they will always find a way to make me feel things that very few games have ever made me feel before. Whenever I think of the Nintendo Wii, I think of these games, and I am so happy that they exist. They're phenomenal experiences, and they don't even feature Wario, which is impressive. Yeah, Wario got some love on this console in the form of WarioWare Smooth Moves and Wario Land the Shake Dimension, because in Europe, we just refused to shake it. The Shake Dimension was the triumphant return of the Wario Land series in an absolutely gorgeous 2D platformer with all sorts of fun mechanics. I'd honestly say this game stands toe-to-toe with New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but sadly, the sales definitely didn't reflect that. From what I can tell, Smooth Moves is generally considered to be one of the best WarioWare games, and I have to agree, it's fantastic and uses the Wii Remote in a non-intrusive way. Take notes. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. The game that's infamous for having one of the worst reveals of all time, and also for how much Rawk hasn't played it. I'm sorry, I wanted to. I even let my Skyward Sword HD cartridge have some time outside of its cubby, but my death certificate still hasn't arrived. There's nothing I could do. This game is very love it or hate it, but I'm sure if the controls worked, it would be a lot less divisive. This was a late life Wii game, and it definitely demonstrated the motion controls aren't always the meaning of life. Sometimes they just aren't as intuitive as regular button and stick controls, especially for a game like Skyward Sword. The Wii Remote was not good at reading precise movements, even with the Wii Remote Plus accessory that released later down the line, and that right there is where most of the flaws of the system stem from. So many games tried to mimic precise actions and honestly didn't do it well, and people became fatigued on subpar motion controls after a while. But again, I think if Skyward Sword's controls were more reliable, people would probably look back on this game a lot more fondly. And hell, disregarding its reception, the Wii essentially had two full-fat Zelda games, which is a huge deal.
Yup, it wouldn't be a Nintendo system without an original Zelda. Sure, the Wii had Twilight Princess, but that was just a GameCube game. The only original mainline title came out in the final year of the console's existence, so what do we have to hold us over until then? God's worst fucking nightmare.
Lynx Crossbow Training, a game made exclusively to push the Wii Zapper, that cousin that we all have, but we forget about until we see them at a family reunion. I sometimes forget just how much plastic garbage was pushed for the Wii. You could always buy these packs that came with like 17 different Wii Remote accessories, and all of them did jack shit to enhance the experience. But my Wii Remote can be a golf club now. This is perfect for Lynx Crossbow Training. What I think would have worked better as a pack-in title for the Wii Zapper would have been a Metroid game. But you know what? It's fine because the Wii already had 3 Metroid games. That makes everything okay. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Metroid Prime Trilogy, Metroid Other M. My god, for a franchise with less than stellar sales? Metroid was sitting pretty on the Wii. I mean, sure, not all of the games were good, but Metroid Prime 3 is considered to be one of the best Wii games, and hell, Nintendo had so much faith in it that it was the first Nintendo Revolution game they ever showed off. When has Metroid ever had that treatment before? Like I said earlier, 2D platformers were huge on the Wii, and that's pretty damn obvious looking at the 2 major revivals that the Wii saw, Chewing Gum and Mammal. Kirby saw his first home console 2D platformer since the Nintendo 64, being Kirby's Epic Yarn. But let's be real, as good as some fucking weirdos think this game is, it will never live up to Kirby's Adventure Wii. This thing is a goddamn national treasure. And Donkey Kong saw similar treatment. After being subjected to questionable spin-offs since the Super Nintendo, he came swinging back with Donkey Kong Country Returns, and this is my personal favorite 2D platformer on the Wii. It's just so damn good. But that wasn't all that Donkey Kong had going for him. He also had Donkey Kong Jet Race. It's somebody's kink. I mean, technically speaking, he also had Donkey Kong Jungle Beat under the new Play Control line, a series of GameCube games re-released on the Wii in widescreen with new features and shittier box art. Jungle Beat was actually one of the more interesting releases in this line, as it changed up some level designs and orders compared to the original, which is something that the rest of the line definitely didn't do. But that doesn't excuse this box art, Jesus Christ! Pokemon was fucking weird on the Wii. Mainline Pokemon titles never made their way to home consoles until the Nintendo Switch. But the GameCube saw a ton of Pokemon spin-off games. The Wii saw Pokemon Battle Revolution. That sounds more like an anime than something I want to play. But I guess that really doesn't matter, seeing as the greatest thing mankind has ever accomplished released on this system, being Poke Park Wii. If you didn't buy a Wii for this game, then get the fuck out of my face. This game is something that everybody deserves to experience, and if you've robbed yourself of that, then go to hell!
I clearly have some issues I need to work through.
Now I know what a lot of people are thinking. Oh, Rawk, if this game was so great, then where's the sequel? After all, Wii Play got a sequel, and you're absolutely right. Poke Park Wii and Wii Play actually have a lot in common. They both require motion controls, and they both got sequels that people forgot about. Poke Park 2 Wonders Beyond. I haven't played this one, but can you really blame me?
Making a sequel to Poke Park Wii is like making a sequel to Jesus. Like, sure, it makes sense, but let's be real. It was never gonna live up to the original, so why would I even bother with it? Unless somebody gave me it for Christmas. In that case, then I might give it a go.
A lot of Nintendo's other franchises, both big and small, got a chance to shine on the Wii, and most of these entries were pretty fantastic. Animal Crossing Let's Go to the City, one of the coziest games in the Animal Crossing series, which is saying a lot considering coziness is the series' tagline. Something about this one is so damn endearing, and people seem to dislike it for basically being a port of Wild World with some enhancements. First of all, Wild World desperately needed improving, so I welcome this. I mean, come on, it didn't even have Halloween, how dare it have an 86 on Metacritic? And second of all, how are you gonna have an entire goddamn city and claim to be worse than your younger brother? Grow the fuck up. The presentation in this one is amazing. Something about the Wii-style visuals mixed with the high-quality soundtrack from Wild World is incredibly charming, and makes this game nothing but relaxing. I love it. Now, if you want something that's the polar opposite of relaxing, Beat the Beat Rhythm Paradise. That's right, fuck off, Just Dance. One of the best rhythm games around, and that's coming from someone who has about as much rhythm as a dull pencil. I may not be any good at Rhythm Paradise, but I kick ass at maths, so maybe Big Brain Academy for Wii will be more at my alley.
No. I think I prefer Rhythm Paradise. Thanks for the offer, though.
Punch-Out Ennui. My god, I never thought I'd experience foreplay with a Wii game. What I would give for a new game in this style. Punch-Out Wii takes the NES classic and turns it into an addictive, modern, motion-controlled masterpiece that spits in the face of Super Punch-Out. If you have a title that even slightly differs from the series name, you aren't welcome in my collection. The only slight complaint I have with this game is that it doesn't have any unique fighters. It's the same cast we saw back on the NES, unless you want to count Donkey Kong, but I sure don't. A few new fighters would have really benefited this game in my opinion, but the gameplay is so refined and addictive that I'm more than willing to let it slide. Now this wasn't the only Punch-Out game on the Wii, as through the Club Nintendo Rewards program you could get Doc Lewis's Punch-Out for a limited time. This was a pretty small game that acted more as a spin-off to the main game. You just fight Doc and finish the game an hour later. It's a charming little distraction that truly shows the relationship that Doc and Little Mac have, and I'm really quite upset that I wasn't ever able to get my hands on this one. But I think the biggest Nintendo series that saw a Wii entry was Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the epitome of pre-Ultimate Smash Bros. I've said this before, but this is my favorite game in the series outside of Mr. Fucking Obvious. And that's not just because I grew up with this one. Smash Bros. Brawl has so much to satisfy any and every player, whether they want to learn about Nintendo history, create their own stages to fight on, go on a huge adventure, or gamble their hard-earned money for a crystal trophy, go wild. The game isn't perfect, it's pretty floaty and a lot less technical than other entries, which was done mostly to appeal to the target demographic of the Wii: toddlers, grandparents, and nobody in between. The random tripping makes me wake up in a cold sweat too, but hey, just play as Jigglypuff and you won't have that problem. You can't trip if you never touch the ground. Many people dislike Brawl's art style, and while it isn't the best the series has had to offer, it's far from bad, and I'd even go as far as to say that I'm a fan of how this game looks. Sue me.
There's loads of other great Wii games, some of which I've never even played, like Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, and Pandora's Tower, also known as the Project Rainfall trilogy, games that were never supposed to leave Japan, but did the deed anyway. And there was also Grill Off with Ultra Hand, but I can only handle so much sex in one day. But if you ask me, the most impactful titles on this and arguably any other Nintendo system were the Wii games. Oh, fuck, I forgot to take my meds again, didn't I? Every single game released on the Wii was a Wii game, but I'm not talking about Wii games, I'm talking about Wii games! What part of this don't you understand?
The Wii series of games were Nintendo-developed titles that showed off what the Wii Remote was capable of, starting with Wii Sports alongside the launch of the console, and continuing on into its successor. This was a juggernaut of a series with some pretty stellar titles under its belt. After Wii Sports, we got Wii Play. Finally, a reason to get out of bed! This was a minigame collection, and a pretty fun one at that. Sure, all of the games it has to offer are pretty simplistic, and they don't offer a great deal of replay value, but they're a mainstay of any family's Wii collection. You could play these games with relatives you'd never even heard of, and you'd still have a blast. After that, we saw Wii Fit. What do you mean I'm obese?
I mean, I guess it checks out.
This came bundled in with the balance board. Nintendo, you're lying. I can't balance on this.
The fucking light again, damn it!
This was a game with the heaviest quotation marks I've ever seen, and its main appeal was to get all of our Sonic Colors playing kids to get off their asses and exercise for once. Nintendo really tried to push their health initiative with the Wii, which I guess is a good cause, but is it a good enough cause to warrant releasing a Wii Vitality sensor? That's what I thought, bitch. Next up, we had Wii Chess. Fuck you, Ohio. It's a chess game with nothing going for it other than chess against a computer, but I will forever rub it into the face of the Americans that we got this game and they didn't. After that, we had Wii Music, a music creation tool that allowed you to play public domain songs badly. It had Yankee Doodle and not a great deal else. Next up, Wii Sports Resort, also known as the best one. This might be one of my absolute favorite Wii games. It took the fantastic core of Wii Sports and built upon it and improved it in every conceivable way. The island resort theme was to die for, the new minigames were spectacular, every aspect of this one worked so damn well together to provide an experience like no other. While Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are what immediately come to my mind when I think of the Wii, if I'm actually sitting down to play this system with friends, it's very rare that something other than Wii Sports is going to be on that screen. Wii Fit Plus. We then got Wii Party, Nintendo's excuse for the Wii having half as many Mario Party games as the GameCube. And this game sat snugly between Mario Party 8 and 9 on the Wii Party game quality scale. It's good to appeal to all demographics. And finally, Wii Play Motion, the Wii Sports resort to Wii Play. This one's also really good, definitely more of a mixed bag than the original, but definitely nothing to sneeze at. And I can finally die happily knowing how the story continued after Wii Play ended.
That's pretty much the first party Nintendo lineup for the Wii, and I think it's an excellent batch of games. People tend to focus on what series didn't make an appearance here, and while that's fair, what was the Wii really missing?
Star Fox, F-Zero, Earthbound, and original Pikmin, Chibi Robo. Sure, they would have been amazing on Wii, and I would have loved to have them, but their omissions don't make the existing lineup any worse. When considering what was missing against what we have, it's hard to disagree that the Wii had a phenomenal library of games, and I'd argue that the Wii and its lineup partner perfectly with the Nintendo GameCube. Think about it, all of the series missing from the Wii, minus Earthbound, are represented on the GameCube. The series represented on both? Well, the Wii entries went in entirely different directions, which makes them fantastic in their own right. And the cherry on top is the Wii exclusive games and series. These two consoles are a lot more similar than people give them credit for. They work together incredibly well. If there's something that you love about the GameCube, you'll probably find an equivalent on the Wii, and vice versa. These two are the perfect companion consoles. Neither one is objectively better, but they're both amazing pieces of hardware in their own right. So with that and everything else in mind, is the Wii a good console? No. It's a phenomenal console, and honestly, one of the greatest out there, and with the industry headed the way it's headed, tech will always be advancing and games are forever becoming more impressive. But I don't think there will ever be another console like the Wii. I don't think any console will ever offer the simple, consistently engaging, timeless fun that the Wii had to offer. So even if future Nintendo systems offer sequels to all of the Wii games and then some, I'll always find myself coming back home for a comfortable, fun slice of my childhood.
The Nintendo Wii isn't my favourite Nintendo system, but it's damn close. I love this thing so much, and I'm so grateful for all the good times and fond memories this thing has given me over the years. And it also gave me a kick-ass business idea, which reminds me, I have an investors meeting in now minutes. Wish me luck! What do you mean you don't think this is a worthwhile investment? What part of putting grapes in bread buns doesn't sound fucking delicious to you? I mean, come on. This is absolutely... Never mind. You're right. I lost a hell of a lot of money on that.